Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Mubadala Pavilion. I'm Deepti Raghunath from Mubadala Investment Company. I'm also part of the Mubadala Youth Council. As a sovereign wealth fund, our key mandate is to deliver sustainable financial returns, as well as create opportunities for future generations. It is these future generations who are key to tackling critical global challenges. Young people today are innovators, community leaders, leaders in their own companies and organizations. And they are working towards securing a net zero future and a healthy planet in the face of tremendous challenges posed by climate change. So today we have four speakers, youth speakers, who will share their inspiring stories about climate advocacy and community engagement. First, we'll hear from Rashid Al-Romethi. Rashid is a dedicated environment professional at the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi and serves on its Youth Council. He is also the president of the Youth Ambassadors at the Climate Tribe. So Rashid, we'll start right here at home in the UAE. Tell us, why are mangroves so critical to the ecosystem? And it's so important towards UAE's commitments to tackle global climate change. And how are you working with local communities to not only plant new mangroves, but also to save the existing ones?
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. That's a great question. But before we start, I'd like to give a brief about the Climate Tribe. So the Climate Tribe is a UAE-based social enterprise founded by Her Highness Sheikh Hashamma bin Sultan bin Khalifa Al Nahyan. The Climate Tribe inspires climate action through dynamic storytelling, immersive community engagement, and radical collaboration. As an inclusive community effort, the Climate Tribe believes that the power of one can catalyze changes across the globe. The Community Impact Team is a driving force within the Climate Tribe, dedicated to fostering collaboration by hosting climate awareness events such as mangrove plantation, e-waste recycling workshops, lecture series, roundtable discussions, and educational trips. Working together, they form a collective dedicated to protecting our environment. So I'd like to answer your questions in two parts. So why do mangroves play a critical role in UAE's commitment to tackle climate change? So there are several reasons. Mangroves are highly effective at sequestering carbon from the atmosphere. They have the ability to store large amounts of carbon in their soil. Also, other carbon sinks that we have are mudflats and seagrass. The UAE recognizes the importance of carbon sequestration in mangrove ecosystems as a strategy to combat climate change. Also, mangroves provide habitat for plants and animal species. So, also that mangroves act as buffers. They protect the coastlines from storm surges, erosion, and extreme weather events. So, also, mangroves help improve water quality by trapping sediments and filtering pollutants. This enhances the health of the coastal ecosystem. Also, mangroves contribute to the economy through fisheries, tourism, and other ecosystem services. Protecting and restoring mangrove ecosystem aligns with the UAE's goals for sustainable development and economic diversification. And it is a natural-based solution to reach net zero by 2050. Also, mangroves can adapt to changes in sea level and are resilient to certain climate stressors. So by investing in mangrove conservation and restoration, the UAE is enhancing its ability to adapt to impacts of climate change, and by pledging to plant 100 million mangroves. So for the second part of your question, so with the Climate Tribe and as a member of EAD Youth Council, we have conducted several youth engagements in the past year. We have organized mangrove plantation activities, and through them, the community gets to learn more about these plants, to appreciate them more and protect them. Raising awareness is important. Also, developing ecotourism, which allows the community to benefit economically. Doing birdwatch events, having guided tours. So, mangroves are multifaceted. They have a multifaceted approach to climate change and mitigation and adaptation, providing environmental, social, economic benefits by prioritizing the conservation and the restoration of mangrove ecosystem. The UAE is taking a proactive stance in addressing the challenges posed by climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashid, and thank you about mentioning the UAE's proactive stand. I understand it was one of the founding countries to launch the Mangrove Alliance for Climate. So that's very interesting. So we'll move on to our next speaker, Majid bin Saad. He's the president of the Green Youth Majlis under Environment Agency, Abu Dhabi. So Majid, to build on what Rashid just spoke about, as a youth leader in Climate Tribe, tell us what obstacles have you faced while engaging with local communities, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Mubadala for having me as a guest speaker, and I would like to thank the Climate Tribe for having me also as a guest speaker and inviting me and empowering me as one of their youth ambassadors. For those who don't know me, I am Majid Abdullah bin Saad, one of the youth ambassadors at the Climate Tribe and leading a community of youth with more than 500 youth across the country under volunteering with Environment Agency Abu Dhabi. Alhamdulillah, I have been involved in volunteering in many different fields for more than 10 years. And I have been facing a lot of challenges, and we always try to tackle these challenges with different approaches. And maybe if we want to highlight some of those challenges that I usually face, and one of the main one is having the youth on board with us in the different initiatives and engaging them. Especially when it's coming to having an initiative that have a return more to the environment as compared to the individuals. Maybe to highlight the mangrove plantation. We did organize with the Climate Tribe a lot of different workshops and events to plant mangroves, where youth usually see it as more of just doing something and having a less return, but it's having a lot of things to do. And usually what we highlight in these opportunities, the experience that the youth will engage with and the impact that they will leave in their community. And at the same time, witnessing the environment. Usually when we go to these environmental areas and see the effect of the climate change, we usually get excited to take more actions and to continue that efforts. And that's one of the things that we are focusing into. Also, one of the main challenges is to have the youth coming again with us. Some of the workshops that we are organizing or the activities, maybe you will see the youth coming at one time but not coming again. And what the Climate Tribe team did in order to ensure the continuity of attendance of the members is to diverse in the opportunities. We have a lot of wide range of opportunities ranging from workshops, on-field experience, panel discussions, and a lot of things that we always have and at different times. These usually empower us as youth and give us the opportunity to attend these various fields. Also, something I want to highlight about the challenges we're facing, me especially as volunteer or a person that is in early stage in environmental action, is maybe having the titles. I do remember the first time the Climate Tribe knew me, and they told me, like, we want to know you as Majid, not as the roles that you are playing. So come as Majid, introduce yourself, what you are passionate about, and that helped me to continue to grow. And this is what I always hope that other entities look into, is the action that taken by individuals more than the titles, which helped me to be present today and to empower me by being an active volunteer without titles. Also, things that we are facing is the awareness about the action taken, maybe the mangrove plantation. So what is the impact? Like I usually hear, because I planted multiple mangrove in multiple emirates with the support of the Climate Tribe. So usually youth are telling me, what is the purpose of planting mangrove, and if you will be making a change. But usually the engaging there and the raising awareness and being on the field, leading by action, helped a lot to grow the community and to engage a lot of youth with us in these actions. And I do recall when I used to be a child, I used to see the mangroves when visiting the Eastern Mangrove Park, but not taking any action. I see them as normal trees. And maybe one of the things I could highlight is that my first time ever to be as close to mangrove and to plant a mangrove was the beginning of this year. And one of the biggest challenges was that, I'm not allowed to say that, but the first mangrove actually cost me more than 200 dirhams to be planted. And today, the Climate Tribe is supporting us with different opportunities, covering all the expenses and open to all nationalities and all the community. And this is making a lot of the difference and engaging them. You will always see the different individuals engaging with them, not having a concern that, oh, it's only limited to youth, it's open to everyone. And that's making a lot of difference in, when coming to taking actions and engaging the community and having them on board with us. So that's main things, and maybe to highlight the community we are forming at the Climate Tribe and the Green Youth Majlis, or the community we are forming between us. This making a lot of differences because a lot of the opportunities I'm attending and the Climate Tribe we're attending with, we are attending as a community or more as a family. I do see a lot of our members of the Majlis and the Climate Tribe attending today. Most of them are attending probably to support me as Majid and to support the Climate Tribe. And this is what usually support us to continue taking actions and to take part of various things we are doing. The last point is the empowering of us. The Climate Tribe and we as the Youth Majlis and different entities, we always empower the youth to take actions. And we are always open to hear the ideas of youth and more empower them than engaging them. So they are always open to listen to your ideas, initiatives, and support you to implement them. A lot of opportunities I was looking for to participate at COP, they were all by the Climate Tribe, and this is something that I'm really honored with and happy to be part of and to continue growing in this field.
Thank you, Majid. Your volunteering efforts are truly inspirational. And it's great you mentioned about awareness about mangroves, and that's something that I want to touch upon with Latifa, our next speaker, Latifa Al-Mansouri. She's an environment assessment specialist in the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi and also serves as the chairperson of its Youth Council. And not only that, she's also UAE's Youth Climate Delegate for COP28. Congratulations, Latifa. So Latifa, the question to you is, how are you working in your role in EAD as a youth leader alongside Climate Tribe and other young leaders to raise public awareness about biodiversity and climate change? And how do you leverage educational programs to bring out your sustainability efforts?
Thank you, Deepti, and thank you to Mubadala and the Climate Tribe for having us today. I believe both my colleagues, Rashid and Majid, they touched up on how the Climate Tribe have impacted them, and I want to bring it from a different perspective. So, how I was introduced to the Climate Tribe. So Rashid and I, our colleagues, were literally offices apart. He came to me one day, he was like, Latifa, I have signed your name for a new youth group. I looked at him, I'm like, Rashid, we're already dealing with a lot of youth engagement, we don't need one more. He was like, no, this is cool, you're gonna like it. And I was like, I trust you, let's see where this goes. At first, I was Googling the Climate Tribe. There's nothing there at all. It's like a new initiative that has not yet been launched. And I've met Noor and the Climate Tribe team, and they basically said that we are not trying to duplicate efforts. We're looking for youth who are in the community and are active, and we want to give them the platform to amplify their voices, their actions, and basically impact a wider community. So what we've been doing as a youth council, we've been focusing on the youth genre in the community, but the Climate Tribe is looking at elderly and at children as well. So when you're looking at it, you're impacting on a whole spectrum of a community, especially through like intergenerational dialogues and all those other things. And through that, honestly, thank you, Rashid. It has been a great experience. The Climate Tribe have been like a power for us as youth, and they've supported in so many things. I will not talk about my role as an EAD Youth Council chairperson. I'll talk as myself as Latifa the Shaper, a global shaper of Abu Dhabi Hub. So the Global Shapers community is a hub under the World Economic Forum where they select members of the community to impact like Abu Dhabi, as in coming from Abu Dhabi Hub. This year we were awarded to host Shape MENA. So Shape MENA happens every year, and the Abu Dhabi Hub was hosting it. One of the first stakeholders we went to for support was the Climate Tribe, and let me tell you, they were like the best support for the whole program. The program hosted 46 nationalities across the world from 160 hubs coming to Abu Dhabi for a 3 days engagement under the theme of Shaping a Sustainable Arabia. So we brought a lot of nationalities in Abu Dhabi, telling them about our story as sustainable Emirati and a sustainable UAE through different engagements that were very selective to sustainability, social economy, and all these main three pillars of sustainability. We've introduced them to importance of mangrove plantation. So Majid is with us also in the Abu Dhabi Hub. It was amazing having people from different nationalities doing something good for your country. And a funny story that happened, they were like, guys, come plant with us, because we UAE nationals, we were like standing and supporting them and giving them the opportunity. We were like, we do this every week, and this is something Majid can relate to. We always engage in mangrove plantation activities and all these other engagements. So the Climate Tribe were the platform and the support provided for us, especially from Her Highness Sheikha Shamma. Her attending the Shape MENA event and opening the ceremony meant the whole support for us as youth, coming from different backgrounds, not Emiratis, because our hub is for all youth who are in Abu Dhabi. So it really meant a lot, and it showcased how leadership are supporting youth, giving them opportunities, and not only platform support, but even with money support, with resources support. And we were able to provide the best model of Emirati youth to nationalities across the globe.
Thank you, Latifa. And it's very interesting that you talk about, different nationalities and different backgrounds. On this panel, we have 3 Emiratis today, a Polish individual, and then myself from India. Talking about India, Mahatma Gandhi, the father of my nation, said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And, when you talk about change, you talk about transition. And as we move to transition, I'd like to move to our last, but definitely not the least. Our speaker is Benjamin Cheleski. Apologies if I didn't get it right. Benjamin is a member of UN's Youth Advisory Group on Climate Change, and he's also a co-chair of the Student Energy Summit. Benjamin, as an advocate on clean energy transition, I believe your perspective is a little different, yeah? So what's been the most effective in dealing with governments and communities and companies in their transition to clean energy?
Yeah, sure. And thank you so much for having me to Mubadala and to the Climate Tribe. As you mentioned, I'm from a little bit different sector than the rest of our panelists. The event is about mangroves, which are critical to addressing the climate crisis, but at the same time, the energy sector is responsible for 70% of global greenhouse gas emissions, so we cannot address the climate crisis without effectively reducing emissions from our energy system. And so that's something I'm very passionate about, and that's something I've been working on for the past few years. As you mentioned, I'm the co-chair of Student Energy Summit. It's the world's largest youth-led conference on energy transition. It happens every 2 years. And as the organizing committee at NYU Abu Dhabi, we won the bid to bring the summit to the UAE and to the Middle East for the first time ever in 2023. And I think we couldn't have asked for a better year to bring such an important event to the region than this year, the year of sustainability and the year when the UAE is hosting COP. So it was an obvious choice for us to put the SES back to back with COP. And in fact, it has just concluded on December 1st here in the Green Zone. We had, as I mentioned, we had over 600 young people from 130 countries. And it was great honor and privilege for us to bring all of those people from around the world to learn about how energy transition looks like in the UAE, what the country is doing with its ambition, action agenda to reach net zero emissions by 2050 and to progressively increase the share of renewables in this energy sector. We received fantastic support from local stakeholders. The event was held under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure, and we got great support from our partners at TAQA, Abu Dhabi Fund for Development, the Abu Dhabi Department of Culture and Tourism, and EGA. And as well as with other international partners, we're able to create a fantastic program that engaged not only internationals, but also around 130 delegates from across the UAE. And why events like the Student Energy Summit or the TAQA Youth Forum or the youth program at the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week are important? It is because we cannot take the exposure to decision makers and senior leaders from the industry for granted. I think in the UAE in particular, and I've been living here for the past 4.5 years, we have a unique opportunity to be so closely in touch with many senior leaders, many decision makers, government officials, private sector executives. But this is not something that most of the people from other countries get to do. In fact, we are here at COP. Most of my colleagues from other countries around the world, they will never get to meet their minister, their head of negotiations team, unless they fly all the way to where COP is taking place and race after their government official where they see them somewhere in the corridor in the venue, try to grab them and speak to them for a few minutes. So this kind of empowerment where young people first feel that they are heard because the decision makers are listening to them, and second, that they get to collaborate and meet young people from other places, from other groups, is so important. And I think Climate Tribe is doing great job in facilitating this. To add on top of this, and perhaps I will close here, what is so critical is thinking about interdisciplinary connections and creating platforms that bring people from different places. Each of us can think about their job, about their office, and the kind of people that we interact with in our everyday life. If you work in arts, you probably mainly meet artists. If you work in the private sector, in energy company, you probably only speak to people who work on technology and business. And so those kind of platforms like the Climate Tribe, conferences like this one, are a great opportunity to cross-pollinate ideas because unfortunately there's no silver bullet for addressing the climate crisis, and we know that connections across, even if we have the best technological solutions, if we don't get people to speak to the public through arts, through public communications, through educations in schools and universities, these will not be diluted within society. They will not be picked up. And in similar fashion, even if we have great artists who are very passionate about communicating about climate issues, challenges, and solutions, if we don't back them up with science and ideas that what actually works and what doesn't, we really risk that people will fall into the traps of misinformation. So I think in short, those kind of networking platforms that we are trying to create here, I think will be critical in the years to come. Thank you.
Do you think youth-led initiatives are more effective when they are integrated into, wider business practices, into environmental and social business practices? What do you say?
Yeah, I think it's quite obvious to say that the role of youth will be critical to addressing the climate crisis because young people are over 50% of the global population, and some of the parts of the world that will be the most critical in addressing the climate crisis, Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia, the youth population is upward of 60-70%. So there is no question that we will need to educate them, we'll need to empower them, we'll need to give them resources to drive the transition. Now, I think something that I learned about the UAE and I very much appreciate, and I feel I'm going to preach to the convinced, but just really want to appreciate the model of a youth council because I think in many parts of the world, businesses or government agencies, young people end up being in the most junior positions, which makes sense. They have often the least knowledge, often the least experience, but they have a lot of energy and they have a lot of passion to get going, to make a change. And I think from what I've learned from my colleagues here in the UAE is that Youth Council is a great platform to, while letting young people still progress kind of on the traditional trajectory, already create for them a platform within their entity to jumpstart their creativity and leadership, kind of as a parallel to the regular operations of the company or the government. They have a space to test their ideas, to rally their team, to engage the public. And I think what is particularly also important is that those platforms are often well-resourced. Well too often, young youth-led groups around the world are facing severe shortage of finance to develop their projects. Some of the research shows that less than 2% of global finance and in particular philanthropic contributions towards climate initiatives go to youth-led projects. And this is terrible, considering, again, that over 50% of people in the world are young people. So if they get only 2% of the funding, how can we expect young people not to get burnt out? If you're constantly bootstrapping, if you constantly have to worry about where your next penny will come from to keep running your educational program, mangrove planting initiative, or whatever, you can't really give your full capacity to have that project develop, scale up, and have full potential. So yeah, I think 2 points on that. Definitely very critical to have youth-led initiatives embedded in the wider system, have them well-resourced, and give young people the space and time to develop their projects.
And I couldn't agree more with you, Benjamin. I'm personally a member of the Youth Council, the Mubadala Youth Council, and it has been one of the most enriching experiences of my life. So that's very true. So another question I have to the panel is, how do you think youth-led initiatives can remain true to their core values of, community engagement as they spread and scale? What do you say?
I want to quote on what Benjamin mentioned, like the support of leadership and providing the platform, especially when it comes to youth councils, because we're given all the freedom and the decision making to basically see what we want happen in the world. Also, another example we can look at is basically the COP28 logo. You would see Sheikh Zayed Allah yarhamah in the middle of it, holding a falcon. So even bringing this COP to the UAE, we are strictly taking our values with us to the whole world. The COP28 value is the COP28 logo is the example we can start with, and giving youth again the platform to take these initiatives is really important. A couple days ago, I was chatting with someone at COP. I forgot who was it. They said a sentence that stayed with me, and it was that youth are the middle of the society. We're very close to children to see what they need and bring it up for the coming generation, but we're also closer to elderlies to get them their mindsets and know how to convince them. So we are the most important acting pillar in the community, and there are plenty of opportunities. And I always say this, at this time, youth of the UAE and youth of the whole world, if they don't see an opportunity, they would create the opportunity and they would make the change they want to see in the world.
How do we harness new opportunities? Do you think awareness alone is enough?
I feel that we need more scientists in the field. I feel that youth should pursue education in environmental skills, renewable energy, climate policy. Also, we have an opportunity here today for everyone to join us at the UICCA Pavilion to learn more about the Climate Tribe, and it's an opportunity for everyone to join. We have with us our Climate Tribe members, and I think it's a great opportunity.
Okay.
Majid.
Adding on to Rashid, from my perspective as a youth and volunteer in this field, I do believe the importance of awareness, but it's more about also following it with actions. Only sharing awareness or educating the youth about different things without following it with actions, I don't think will result in anything. That's why it's always important to focus on the actions that we could take. Also, and what youth should do basically to address the climate change from a youth side and maybe as a volunteers is probably to take part of the different opportunities that are available to them. in which these opportunities, for example, for me, open my eye to a lot of different things that I'm more educated about and inspired about, and trying to solve them from my point of view. Also, maybe one of the things I want to highlight, what youth should do, also the use of the power of social media. Maybe for me, I started recently with the social media to influence the other youth in the community. And maybe something I could recall while just entering Expo, one of my colleagues saw me like, oh, the sustainable guy, or always the green guy. So it's always resonate in their mind, like Majid and volunteering, Majid and environment. And that's something that it's not only resonate, but also engage them with us. Some of them, they are attending today with us and trying to want to say what we are doing, what things can be done. So the influence of these tools are very like amazing to me when I'm using them. Also, something I want to highlight is how youth should utilize their skills. For example, for me, I do have different skills or different interests. I do always push the youth to take part of things that they are more passionate about and have the skills to innovate into, as compared to just enrolling in different things. For example, for me, I had an interest in, for example, launching different initiatives or technology and websites. So, for example, I used that to launch a platform that empowered the youth in the community rather than doing different things. So I do believe youth using these tools and skills to impact from their side will have a bigger impact and influence across the country. And at the end is all the youth should lead by their actions more than just speaking about things. Because usually the actions will speak about them and influence others.
I think if each one of you could give us one final thought, one final key takeaway that you would let the audience have, what would that be?
I think it's a tremendous opportunity where we are right now. The world has come to the UAE to negotiate the future of our climate, and I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to take advantage of this resource. I think we have a lot to learn, and many countries in the world still have a long way to go in embracing the culture of sustainability. I think in this venue we're around 70,000, which is a lot, more than any other COP in the past. But the UAE has 10 million residents, and I think the education is still yet to reach everyone. Those initiatives are yet to reach everyone. I think way too often we have the same circles of people meeting in the same event every 2 months or every month. Let's all think how we can make the effort to reach out those communities that are not involved, the communities that do not get to participate in the COP28 or the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, and how we can bring them on board with this agenda. For me, this means talking to my grandparents or my colleagues from school who have other priorities than remembering to turn off their lights and recycle their plastic bottles. I think each of us can think about those people that are still need to be on board with the sustainability agenda. So let's make the most out of this time here and the months ahead.
What I want to say is basically everyone here with us in the room has a passion to take, and they have a surrounding community around them. They can carry this community with their passion to whatever future they want. So it is a responsibility on each individual here to not only showcase the UAE sustainability model, but to showcase you as a person and your passion and take your stories across the world, especially in a space like COP28.
So for me, what I would like to share with you or to advise you with, especially for the youth, is that what next? So we usually attend different opportunities, but what we will be doing after that and after the discussions. So it's always good to think about that and always think about it when planning to attending different things. At the same time, I do invite you all to join us in the community and the journey of the environment, because it's just started recently, and it will continue after the COP with the Climate Tribe. And trust me, I have been in the field for more than 10 years, and the support that I'm getting now with the Climate Tribe, especially with the different opportunities, is something that we all youth looking for, especially as still like unemployed, for example, don't having things. So these opportunities and the support is something that could help you to grow, especially for those who have ideas, whether you are youth or adult or wherever you are. We are always here to listen to different ideas and to implement them. So we are all having working together side by side for the impact. So we'll be more than excited to listen to your ideas and to take them forward, and looking forward to seeing you all with us in this journey.
I'd like to say, first of all, thank you to Muhammad Luqman for having us here today. And I know that we say a lot of things, but if you want action now, if you want to change now, join either, if you're a Mubadala, join the Youth Council. If you're in Taqa, join the Youth Council. If you want to join the Climate Tribe, you're going to see action now.
Well, you stole my line. You know, before we wrap up, I would like to quote Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the founding father of UAE. He says, "Our hope is great in our youth who know their responsibilities, understand them, work hard and sincerely." And this, my friends, is the call of action from each one of us on the stage. We need to come together as youth. We need to bring our communities together and build the bridge of collaboration and work collectively towards climate change. And with that, I thank all of the panelists today, Rashid, Majid, Latifa, Binyamin. You guys were amazing. Thank you to the very kind audience. I wish you a wonderful rest of the day and a very successful COP28. Thank you.